Okay, so people applauding Donald Trump, yay, we've got freedom, yay, the saviour, etc. And we're going to get rid of all these illegal immigrants and blah, blah, blah. You watch. He's going to take it the right-wing path. And the same sorts of things that they did with COVID or whatever, you're going to see the world venture into areas where it's almost exactly the same. And that's because at the extremes of either, it is the same. Okay? So what will happen is that because of the absolute push of these radical left nonsense agendas on the population and people being greatly opposed to them, you'll see a backlash. And you'll see people going overboard in the right direction to the point where they're basically doing exactly the same as what happens on the left. And how could this play out, for example? Well, I just mentioned, illegal immigrants. In the United States, they say, well, we need to get these people out of the country. How do we do this? Okay. And at first, it seems reasonable. You need to check in and we will take you aside and there'll be a process, blah, blah, blah. And then, unfortunately, look, you'll need to go home. And then it'll be, okay, well, we need to actually, we need to detain you. So we effectively need to imprison you because you've overstayed your visa or you're actually not welcome here in the first place. We need to detain you so that we can, in quote marks, process you to get sent back to your country, right? And then it starts getting more and more progressively worse. People getting rounded up and stuff like that. That's the extreme right wing. And the thing is that the people who are so sick of the left-wing agenda, we know that this whole illegal immigrant stuff is just George Soros and his cronies dumping populations on Western nations, right? They dump the riffraff of say, third world countries on Western nations in order to screw them up. That's what they do. So we know that, right? But what people are so sick of it that they'll take any measures, they'll accept any measures to get these people out of the country. And that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. Because it's basically the same thing from a right-wing perspective as from a left-wing perspective. It's all about control and controlling populations. And you'll see where they round up people that they shouldn't be rounding up. And the people who are sick of all the left-wing nonsense will cheer it on. They'll forget and they'll cheer it on. We saw exactly this during baloney virus. Right? People, good, decent people, ordinarily cheering it on when people were getting forced out of their jobs because they weren't going to take a scam jibby jab. Right? It's the dialectic. It's the divide and conquer. Left wing and right wing, two wings of the same bird. And I dare say that we are now in the infancy of a shift to something that will eventually become radically right, because people have had a gutful of this woke nonsense. So the final thing is the cryptos, and this is really what my channel was supposed to be about. I don't even know why I'm posting anymore. Just feel like it. I'm allowed to. It's a free world. So, very interesting how Donald Trump has now aligned himself with cryptocurrencies. Now, it doesn't matter what Donald Trump actually thinks, whether or not he believes that cryptos are a good thing or not. It's what brief that he's being handed by the powers that be. So the powers that be have given him a tap on the shoulder. You need to promote cryptos this term, right? And governments need to be involved in cryptos. The thing is that as BSV people here, we know that this is entirely corrupt. This crypto market is entirely corrupt. It is absolute scamville, right to the core. And these governments coming in, that is a bad, bad sign. It might be good for those of us that are investing in cryptos. Well, I use that term lightly, investing. The people that want to see another bull run, and we're going to get it in 2025, the 4-yearly cycle. They found their liquidity source. I've talked about this in previous videos, where they find their liquidity source each 4 years. And in the last bear market, over the last few years, I was saying one of the things that they will use is superannuation. In other words, your IRA. So how they do this is by creating these ETFs, e.g. BlackRock ETF. And I got an email recently from the exchange that I use, the crypto exchange that I use, and it was talking about, there's a finance company called AMP in Australia, and it said, and they're involved in superannuation, and it had AMP Super stepping into crypto, something like that. And when I see that, I say, in other words, stealing from the nest egg of a baby boomer's superannuation fund. That's what they're doing. The target is that nest egg, and they want to get that money and pump the crypto market. It'll be a coordinated agenda, and what it'll be is absolutely pumping the crap out of the crypto market. They're going to do it in 2025, not before a massive pullback. I think there'll be a pullback at some point in time, because I've seen this now. This is probably the third time I've seen this pattern. So what happens is there's a mini bull market, right? And then there's, say, a 30% dump, or maybe even 40% before the actual bull market comes in. And to me, the market does look heated at the moment. I could be wrong, but I think at some point we're going to see a pullback down to, say, so BTC down to, say, 70 or 80K, that's US, before the real bull market starts. And so they're going to be pumping the market in 2025, that's my prediction, and they're going to be using a combination of Tether and stable coins, plus liquidity from the population. So it could be superannuation fund. They've also floated treasury-backed reserves in crypto. Oh my God. So what they do is they print off debt from the population. So if they print debt, that is money that belongs to the population, right? This is the scam of fiat currencies. So what they're going to do is they're taking future earnings from the population, right, by printing off money, and they're putting that into cryptocurrency. And then when it all goes sour in, say, 2026, when it all crashes down and the people behind this absolute shit show scam, which is crypto, make off with the funds of the population, right? That's when people go, oh, we've been sucked in, right? But then it'll be the next round and the next round. Although I will say this 4-yearly pattern, it's not gonna, what they're gonna do is, it'll be, say, 2029, I will have the next one, right? But it won't happen. They'll pull the rug from under the population. So just when people have got the pattern all worked out, oh, it's every 4 years, they'll pull the rug. And it'll be just a massive bear market. They might even crash Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin BTC. So you just got to be on your toes. You can't trust what they do. You can't trust the patterns will be there forever, right? So yeah, I think this is what we're going to see. As for Bitcoin SV and Craig Wright, yeah, I should talk a little bit about that, I guess. Unfortunately, I think Craig Wright is going to go to jail. I've been hearing other people talk about this, but I actually agree. I think that he's going to have to serve some time. It'll be a fig leaf. I actually think it's more a symbolic thing. It's really a nail in the coffin, a symbolic nail in the coffin of the real Bitcoin, right? It's not really about Craig Wright. It's about BSV and Bitcoin, the true Bitcoin. I don't think that they can actually kill off Bitcoin, right? I think BSV will keep going, but anything to stop it from becoming, you know, the powerhouse that we think it could be. Although I vacillate with this idea from time to time whether or not it's only a matter of time before it actually starts to take off. Can they actually kill it off completely? I don't know, because it just looks so good. And what they're doing with Terranode, and I've been looking at CoinDance, oh my God. This is really what people should be focusing on, not the price of BSV, right? But the usage and the transaction volume and the block size. Oh my God, this is like a wet dream for a big blocker. See half gigabyte blocks. I saw one that was like 800 or 900 megabytes, right? This is almost gigabyte blocks. And really in the scheme of things, that's laughable. But it's so good to see these massive blocks. This is the real metric that people should be focusing on. And you know, if BSV keeps going and keeps pushing forward, will it be a matter of time? That's the question mark that I have. Will it be a matter of time before some institution or institutions start adopting it for the blockchain purposes, not for speculative rubbish? So I don't know. I don't have the answer. I'm still with that. Part of me thinks that it's BSV is kind of, well, Bitcoin is kind of dead. They've completely broken it. But then I see positive signs like this, and I think, well, maybe it's not a foregone conclusion after all. Interesting stuff. You've got your factions there. You've got your Peter Thiels, your Adam Backs, and your MasterCards and Blockstream and Coinbase. They're all wanting to take control of this scam. They want to be in charge of their scam. They don't want to let it go, right? And this is what BSV is up against. This is what the real Bitcoin is up against. They've created this lucrative Ponzi scheme where every 4 years they take their hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, they fleece the population, and it's just a good gig. Who would want to give that up, right? And where I think they want to take it is something that is even... We think this is Scamville at the moment. Give it a few years' time, and if they get their mitts more and more in the pie, they've got government now involved. Great. Wasn't Bitcoin all meant to be about undermining government and, taking over the finance and the monetary system and all of that? Yeah, right. It's diametrically opposed to that right now. That's what we've got with BTC. And BSV is there just chugging away. One thing I love is that it keeps going. People just keep going and keep going and going. And that's what it is. It's that resolve and that tenacity which will help BSV win, i.e. Bitcoin. So that's my video, guys. I guess I'll split this up into 2 videos. If you've enjoyed my content and my rambling, my Handcash handle is $BSV Bulldozer. Thank you.